Hi. Okay, cool. So that was a pretty cool introduction. This is a fairly new talk from me, so I'm just basically talking about chatbots and what sort of things you can do with them. And I hope you enjoyed it. It's a fun event. Like Elad said, I'm a developer advocate. I work for Progress. And if you're on Twitter, you can follow me. I'm Seba Witalec, so that'll be cool. So the agenda for today is as follows. We're going to cover things like what chatbots eat. Do chatbots have dreams? We will answer the question why you should care about chatbots. And we'll go over the usual challenges with chatbots that I see out there nowadays. And we will do an actual live coding demo where I'll build a chatbot from scratch, and I'll recommend you to actually try it at home. So it should be cool. So first thing, what do chatbots eat? Anybody cares to guess? And if you saw the slide before, you're cheating. Anybody? No? Pizza. Well, yeah, that's it. What else could chatbots want to eat, right? If not pizza. Chatbots are made by developers, so they should be eating pizza. Second questions. Do the chatbots have dreams? And if they do, what do they dream about? Pizza. Well, close. Very good, very good. No, actually, chatbots do have dreams, but they don't dream about pizza. They eat pizza. They dream about electric sheep. Like from Blade Runner. That's the whole idea. But let's answer the question of why chatbots? Why should you actually care? And to me, the answer is actually pretty simple. Is the way we communicate with each other has changed. In the past, if you wanted to go and meet a friend, you would go knock at the doors, you would talk to them, or you would call them, and we used to just talk to each other. But nowadays, everything just turned into a chat. You'd literally sit at a table next to another person, and you WhatsApp them or Viber them or something. And actually, the chatting became the main means of communication between people. And then, so at the same time, if you're running a company and you need your customers to have a way to talk to you, a call center is not anymore an answer by itself. You also have to give them an option to go and chat to you, and then have some sort of machine to help you out with this. So by adding a chatbot, you can actually improve the customer service because chatbots could be available 24/7, et cetera, so it's pretty cool. The chatbots can also, they're not there to necessarily replace the people that work in the reception, but it can help these people to actually take care of the really mundane tasks. Especially 50% of or tasks that people in the call center deal with is just literally doing step 1, step 2, step 3, thank you, goodbye. So chatbots could really easily take care of that so that people in a call center could focus on something more tricky, okay? Chatbots are available 24/7, right? So you don't have to hire people across the globe to cover all the time. You could actually just run them all the time, and they don't get bored, and they're really good at handling repetitive tasks. So this is really cool. And also, they're really good when it comes to speed of communication and then talking to your backend. So if somebody has a question, let's say you want to renew your phone contract, usually a person will have to go to the CRM, look your app, and then read the data, and then make a decision based on that, while machine could make a really quick call, within a second, and give you some options. So they're really good at answering very quickly, and then dealing with the data that you have in the backend. So I hope that kind of convinces you why we should actually have chatbots. Is basically times have changed. We all like to chat, right? So we should have something automated for that. But there's also when you want to build a chatbot, and you want to write everything programmatically or something, you have a whole bunch of challenges as you're building chatbots, right? And what are they? So one of the first ones is a lot of the chatbots that I saw out there, at least the early ones, they would have fixed decision trees. So what I mean by fixed decision trees is that the chatbot will expect you to do something in the right order, like step A, step B, step C, and if you provide the information out of the order, chatbot will just ignore it because it wants you to do something in a specific order. This example, somebody comes up and says, hey, I want to book a flight to London for Wednesday, okay? Sure, where do you want to go? And I already said that I want to go to London. It's kind of weird. I was like, okay, I'll say London, whatever. When? I told you on Wednesday. I was like, on Wednesday. And then again, sorry, didn't get that. Okay, so it turns out that as part of the fixed decision tree, the chatbot also expects you to type in a date in a specific format. So you can kind of go like, yep, this is the exact date I want to travel. And then for how many people. And that's not really great. Like the chatbot should be able to recognize the fields you provide and kind of like move on from that step. So you say, you want a flight, you want in London, you want it on Wednesday, let me ask you for how many people. That's kind of the thing. Oh, why do I have it twice? Well, the slide is so nice, I had to have it twice. There you go. Okay, no understanding of business entities. So sometimes when you're building a chatbot, be it for hospital or for some offices, the chatbot should be aware of what doctors or nurses or kind of treatments you have, so that when you type something, the chatbot could extract it from the sentences that you're putting through. So if you have no entity understanding, we could have a situation like this, which says, I want to meet with Dr. Berg on Tuesday. I can help you book an appointment. What is the doctor's name? And the person at this point can probably get confused and goes like, what time would you like to see Dr. What? It's like, because the chatbot is not able to recognize that Dr. Berg was an actual name. But if it knew all the doctors in there, right, it would know that what is not a doctor, right? So you ask again or something. And then we follow what, like, what is going on? I'm not sure I understand you. Me neither. So that's not very fun. But if we had understanding of the business entity of a doctor, this would be a lot easier if I say, I want to meet with Dr. Berg on Tuesday. I'm not, why do I have still this slide? Okay, sorry. I want to meet with Dr. Berg on Tuesday. And then at this moment, the chatbot could recognize that Dr. Berg is this entity in my backend, that I have some data about it. And then you could go like, sure, what time would you like to meet Dr. John Berg on Tuesday, right? So it kind of like the understanding that Dr. Berg is a piece of data, it helps me move forward and then extract the information that I need. And this is very, very important. Lack of proper acknowledgements, that's another really weird one. So basically, whenever we talk to each other, right, like, and I give you a lot of information, sometimes it's good if you tell me back, it's like, oh, I get it, like, you want this and that, right? So if you have a situation like this, say, hi, I would like to sign up for a health insurance for a ski trip to Tel Aviv from June 9th to June 14th. There's nothing weird about that, right? And then the chatbot goes like, what is your age? So at this moment, you go like, did you really get that it is for a ski trip, that it's to Tel Aviv, you know, and for June? It could be like, you know, a little bit confusing, so it's like, are you sure you got my info? So that's not great, but if we have proper acknowledgements, this should be like, should go like this. I want insurance for ski trip to Tel Aviv, June 9th to June 14th. A ski trip to Tel Aviv is always a good idea, you see. You have a skiing guy. Let's find you an insurance from this date to this date. And now if he asks you, like, what's your age, we feel confident that we're going to go to Tel Aviv skiing. You know, it works. It just works. Dealing with ambiguities. So when we speak with each other, like, it's very easy to say something that is misunderstood. And if we misunderstand each other sometimes, like, what about machines? Machines could even have more problems understanding the context and the meaning. So if somebody comes in and says something like, I talked to Dr. Berg, and he told me to book an appointment with Dr. Alcott. And at this moment, the chatbot could actually see two names of the doctors and could get confused and say, sure, when would you like to see Dr. John Berg? It's like, no, I want to see Dr. Alcott, but Dr. Berg told me, right? So a lot better way of dealing with ambiguities in this case would be, like, the chatbot sees that I'm talking about two doctors and he's not sure. So what he can do is say, hey, can you clarify which of the doctors you want to see? And then at this point, the user can just, you know, click one of them and we can nicely move on. And this gives you a lot better experience. No long-term memory, that's another one. Chatbots are machines, so if you keep coming back over and over again, they should remember some of the previous answers to guide you through the conversations, right? So if you have situations like, hey, can you book me an appointment with Dr. Berg on Tuesday at 11? Sure, I can get you that appointment for this date, this time. What is your phone number, right? And if this is somebody that comes every week to book an appointment, like, they can respond as like, don't you have it already? You know, like they will be, you know, a bit concerned. So a lot better way if somebody keeps coming back over and over again is to remember that phone number, right? So if someone says he's back again, he wants to see that doctor, let's get him the appointment, is this your phone number, right? So at this moment, we give them an option to just confirm, and if they change their phone number, then they can provide a new number for us. And by the way, anybody wants to guess what's this phone number? That's from the UK. It's somebody very important. No? So that's for number 10, Theresa May's phone number. So you can call her. And since she's not going to be a prime minister for very long, well, she probably is going to change the number in this conversation. So who knew? Who knew? Use of conversation UI. So we are talking about chatbots and stuff, and everything technically should be text. But because we're dealing with screens, we can give options to the user to guide them to the conversations, to help them make the right choices. Okay, so if we have a conversation like this, again, I want to have an appointment with Dr. Burke. He's a very busy doctor, right? So I want to meet him on Tuesday. I understand you want to meet with Dr. Burke. What time? Anybody sees anything wrong about this? Well, if Dr. Burke is busy, and I say I want to meet him at 12, the chatbot most likely will respond, sorry, he's busy. What time? Right? This is going to take a while, right? Sorry, didn't get that. So a lot better way of handling this scenario, it really is, can you book me an appointment with Dr. Berg on Tuesday? Sure, let's get you an appointment. Here are the available slots. And before I wanted 12, but I can say like, actually 11 is still good for me. I can just select that one and I can move on. So that's pretty cool. So like all those challenges, like you think like, oh, if we can solve them, like it should be pretty easy. But like, how do you even get started? How do you build those chatbots? So this is a little story that at Progress we decided to do this thing where we wanted to build a chatbot that would allow us to book meeting rooms. Like we have offices, you know, in Sydney, in Boston, in Sofia, in London, everywhere, right? So it shouldn't be hard, right? Like all you need to do is just come in and say, I want to come a meeting room for this many people, for this time, for this date, and it has to have a projector or maybe some other equipment, right? So we made a design of like the whole decision tree of how it should look, and this is the design. And like we looked at it, and if we had to do it in a conventional way, with like a lot of if statements and switches and stuff, it would take us a year. So we thought, like, instead of spending a year, how about we spend a year building something that could automate that, right? Like, and make it generic, right? And also, this is basically one of the things, like having this kind of design, we try to avoid this having the predefined paths. Like, we want the chatbot to be able to extract the information and push me towards the goal. And how we arrive there, it's a completely different topic, yeah? So, we basically created this thing called ProgressKinWait Chat, so it's like AI-powered platform, which basically AI is mostly used for understanding the human language that you're dealing with, and we can do up to like 72 different languages, which is pretty awesome. And the way we program the chatbot, and I'm going to show you in a moment, is declarative. So we are not controlling it step by step. We're not writing any if statements or any loops. We basically declare to the chatbot what is it that we want to achieve and what are the pieces of information that we need to extract from the user to get there. And the chatbot manages the flow of the whole conversation, which is really awesome. So you don't need a single if-else statement in the code. Like you can add some conditions, but that's a different story. So this is just a very quick preview. So the whole idea is like the code that you write is JSON. Okay, so first we could say, I want to have a step of type question. The entity type is going to be country, so it might be like I'll train my chatbot to understand countries like France, Germany, Italy, Poland, etc., etc. Then I'm giving it like a prompt message, so I can actually tell chatbot how to ask for this piece of information. So like which country are you traveling to, right? And then finally I could have maybe some sort of display. So if you want to list all the available countries, I could use like little buttons to kind of display each of those. And then kind of that's enough to define a step on how to extract information of the country. And then if I run a chatbot like this, I could say something, I want to order a car. Sure, which country are you traveling to? Italy, and we can move on. Like this little code was already enough to build this part of conversation, which I think is pretty cool. And the best thing is that once you wrote all that code, you can then deploy, without writing any UI whatsoever, your application to Facebook Messenger, to Viber, to any web application, and to native mobile applications. So if you want to run on iOS, Android, or inside NativeScript, that just works, which is pretty cool. And we are just working to add Alexa from Amazon and WhatsApp. So that should be another one. So those two are coming soon. So I want to do a demo, and we're going to learn how to build a chatbot to order pizza. How cool is that? So this is, hopefully can you see the code? Or shall I make it a bit bigger? Should be enough. So this is basically a project that you get out of the box in KinWait Chat. So if you basically go to bots.kinwait.com, you can register for free, and you can actually start creating chatbots and play. And basically, this is what you get at the beginning. And I'll provide the links later. But at the beginning, you just have some very basic conversation, like conversation 1 and 2. So we're going to change it. So I'll just create a chatbot. So let's call it, and there's IntelliSense to help me. So it is going to be a new conversation of type goal, and I'll call it order pizza. And I will copy this order pizza because that will be important in a moment. And then the first step is going to be a message. So I want to just say, because if somebody says, hey, I want to order pizza, I was like, sure, let me help you find a pizza. And let's add a smiley. Why not? We're happy today. So now I have to just train my chatbot to understand when to trigger this conversation. So in my training, there's like a built-in conversation type. I can add value. So the value is order pizza. And now I can add expressions that trigger this. So one, I can literally say just order pizza. I am hungry. Give me food. I want pizza. So I can save this, and I can already go and test this. So let me zoom in a little bit, and I can say, hi, give me foods. Didn't work. That was 50%? Huh. All right, I am hungry. Yeah, sure, let me help you find a pizza. How cool is that? We already have a chatbot that responds. That is not the most impressive thing yet. So obviously, we have to be able to, let's say, choose the size of the pizza and maybe kind of the pizza, okay? So I'm gonna, oops, I don't want this. I am going to add a new entity type. So this is like when I was saying, like, we should be able to recognize doctors, etc. So I want to have an entity type called size. And it's going to be static first. So I'm just literally going to type possible values. So the values will be things like small. Let's add that. We will have medium. And also, I can add an alias like 15-inch. And I will add large, which is 18-inch. So technically, we should be able to recognize both. So that's pretty cool, because now if I go back to my old entities, I have this test console here, and I can say, I am hungry for a large 18-inch pizza. And this is just purely to see what pieces we can recognize. So 18 we recognize as a number, but large is a size, and 18-inch is a size as well. So like we're already training our chatbot to deal with this. I can also add dynamic types. So if I have a backend that has all the pizzas available, I can just make it query the backend instead. So I have my URL. So my backend, so it's like I'm using KinWait, but you can use absolutely anything, and you can see like I have pepperoni here, I have Hawaiian chicken and veggie, etc., etc. So all I need to do is provide the URL and then the authorization code. So let me do this. And I will make the chatbot get the data from my backend. So what I'm doing here is by this value template, I'm just saying use the name attribute from each record as the main value. And you can see my chatbot recognize this number of pizzas, so I can create, and I'll be able to test my chatbot again. So go back to training. I want a veggie. And that's recognized the pizza. So OK, so let's now update my cognitive flow and train my chatbot to ask me for the pizza. OK, so step, question. Question first, we're asking for size. So the entity is like the name of a variable. The entity type is literally the type that I just created, so capital size. And how to ask, how big? Yeah, that's one way of asking. And then we could do display type quick reply. And that's already enough for me to kind of display available sizes and then display to the user. Now let's do the same thing for the pizza. So entity is pizza, pizza, and the question is, which pizza would you like? One too many commas. Let's get rid of that. OK. Right, let's test that. Zoom in a bit. Too much. All right. I am hungry. Sure, let me help you find a pizza. I can choose large and then Hawaiian chicken and kind of like we move on. One thing that it's happening here is that every time the message is displayed, it's because like the way the chatbot evaluates each step from the beginning every time we provided input. So I can, for example, add like a condition that only displays the message when we don't, so we only display this message when we don't have a size. So when not $has size. And then next time if I run it, like basically this message will be only shown once, which is pretty cool. So some other things like acknowledgements I want to show you very quickly. So when we choose size and somebody provides me with acknowledgements, I have this thing called reactions. So I can acknowledge if somebody provides me size even though I didn't ask for it, right? So I can say, I see you like your pizza size. And I use just a double handlebar to kind of provide the input. And also I can have suggestions. So suggestions is really cool because it's like for long-term memory. So we can remember what previous options were before. Do you want it size? And you will see now like the chatbot will be learning each time I go through the session. So I am hungry for a large pizza. So that's number one. You see, like we have this reaction say, I see you like your pizza large, right? It's pretty cool. We're experiencing. Do I? Oh, yeah. Perfect, thank you. See, it's live coding. Somebody's paying attention. You earned some stickers. OK, let me come back then. Let's try again. But you could see like the large we already had a reaction. So now I can say, I am hungry. Let's make it bigger. So notice small is last. OK? So I'm choosing small. Barbecue chicken. Conversation's over. Again, I am hungry. I'm pretty sure you all are getting hungry. You see, small is number one now. So the chatbot already tries to help us. Say like, well, maybe you want small. You don't have to go through all the list. Let's choose supreme. And then finally, I am hungry. And you can see, do you want it small? yes or no. Like, sure, yes, give me small, and then I can carry on. And you can basically, by just adding this one little line, I was able to train the chatbot to kind of like provide me suggestions or acknowledgements, etc. Also, you can provide queries. So in display for pizzas, like I also have images and some other information. So maybe I can display it as like a list picker, right? So I'm going to use single select. And I will use a data source which has following field, like endpoint. So the endpoint is going to be basically the URL to my backend again. So I have to construct it very quickly. So let's do this. So here, and then method is get. So we're going to get the information, and we need headers. And the headers is going to be authorization and providing the key. So let's do this. The key. Let's put that here. All right. So now I can query my backend. And what I can provide this now is template to kind of tell the chatbot which fields to use and how. So for example, I have title. So that's going to be name. We have subtitle, and that's going to be pizza type. And we have image, which the field is IMG in my backend. And then we can provide things like button text. So select this pizza. And then there's title, find your pizza. So this is basically how I can use like the UI to kind of help the user choose the right pizza, right? So I am hungry, 12-inch, well, to make 15-inch. You know, the sentence doesn't have to make sense much. So yeah, I'm getting, you want medium. Now we have this button, and I can type the name of the pizza, or I can just press find your pizza, and you have like a list picker. This is, by the way, test console, so it's not super styled. Like once you deploy, it's getting better styling. But I can choose like ultimate cheese, select this pizza, and we kind of move on, which is pretty cool. And then final thing is, so we could do things like, we get 2 minutes. All right. So the final thing is that what you can do is this. Step webhook. So once you ask all the questions for like the address and the pizza type, etc., then you could send the request to some magic pizza fairy, and then kind of like you can provide pizza size. Right. And basically, this is going to be like my last run of the demo. And then after that, I'll try to deploy it. But the whole idea is like I can say, I am hungry for a pizza. Yeah, make it medium, find a pizza, veggie, selected. And then basically, this makes a request to a webhook. And if this was like a real chatbot, like we'd all get a pizza right now. Right? Like that's basically the idea. So, one last thing. Oh, over here, over here. Bring it over, bring it over. I told you it works. Oh, sorry, mate. Like, you want some money?
You'll pay me later.
I'll pay you later. Thank you. Anybody want some pizza? It's a real pizza. Pineapple. Woo! Thanks a lot. So, just to complete the demo, since we are at the React conference, what I can do is in publishing, I could choose the publishing for web, and I get this script over here that I can copy. I'm getting kicked out. Funny. So I've got this demo project that is based on Todd Motto's project. And I can basically just copy the script, change this to some ID. Why not? Save that. So I'll reload this project. And now you can see like I have this application written in React that you can choose pizzas, etc. But if I don't want to use this menu, I can open a pop-up on the side and say, I am hungry. And our chatbot works, just deployed to a website that runs on StackBlitz, which is really awesome, right? Like, how long did I take? 15 minutes? All right, so I've just got like last couple of slides before they kick me out. So what do you think? Wasn't it just cool? Like literally 15 minutes, we got real pizza? How cool is that? This is the important thing, like you can take a picture at the end. So if you want to learn more, you could go to a website. I actually created a tutorial that teaches you step by step. It takes like half a day to build it. The playground that I was using is bots.kinwait.com. The documentation's at docs.nativechat.com. We actually have a case study that's one of the first customers. And the demo I was showing you just now, you can go and see it. Actually, go to bit.ly/react-pizza-chat, and you could actually play with the chatbot I just built. The demo is designed for laptops, but the chatbot will work on phones as well. So it's pretty cool. Like, take pictures. It's worth it. Yeah, you will get more pizza. We'll get more pizza. So yeah, we have. I don't really have time for this, but it's important to know no electric sheep were hurt in the process of creating this presentation. So yeah, thank you very much.